Hi, I'm Dr. Vonda Wright, and this is Hot for Your Health.
Okay. This is your cortex. Everybody say cortex. Word translates to mean the bark of the tree. Your eyes are looking to the left. Brain evolved from the back to the front. You see in the back, parietal lobe. If you're doing one of these numbers in the parking garage, your parietal lobe's having a problem, okay? Because it helps you get around in the world, all right? I don't have enough time, but I could tell you that if we would just have a video camera and watch humans doing that, you notice that you begin to talk to yourself when you do that? Third floor, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. I think I'm 3 green, 3 green, 3 green. I was next to an Astra minivan, Astra minivan. Where's the Astra minivan? Right? When you begin talking to yourself, you've gone to the other side of the brain to cope with the fact that this part of your brain's not getting it done. Okay? Spatial orientation. Einstein's brain was different in that part. Helps you with mathematics too. Okay? Temporal lobe, really important under each temple. Helps you with auditory processing, what you're doing right now, oral processing, memory and new learning, pretty important for schools. This is the area of the brain that generates new brain cells. This is the area of the brain, if you're under stress, will be damaged structurally and functionally. This is the area of the brain that gets hit very early with Alzheimer's. What do you get early with Alzheimer's? Memory problems. Caregivers come to me and say, Dr. Nussbaum, if he tells me one more time to do so-and-so, I'm going to lose my mind. All I do all day is repeat. Because he's repeating, okay? Because that part of the brain's damaged. Kind of the most interesting part of you is in the frontal lobe, because this is the area of the brain that helps you do so many things. You can lose this part of your brain, your IQ will not go down, but you'll be completely disorganized, scattered, fragmented. You won't be able to sequence. You won't be able to plan into the future, which is really kind of a cool thing you can do. Your cat can't do that, okay? It's where your personality is, okay? Now, I see a lot of patients who have frontal lobe damage, okay? And by the way, I was on a panel the other day, and I'm one of the people out there that say we should not be having our kids playing youth football, so I'm not real popular. But until somebody, I was with ESPN doing a thing, and until somebody can tell me that it's actually a good idea for our little kids with a rapidly developing frontal lobe to get up this morning and smack somebody else's frontal lobe, you know, you can convince me of that, I'll be with you. I played youth football. And as I tell people across the country, right, we're from Pittsburgh. Second maybe to God, maybe. Football, okay? But I'm not talking about the NFL, I'm talking about 6-, 7-year-olds right now, okay? Now, if you want to have an appreciation, if you don't see people with head injuries, I'll give you an idea of what I'm talking about when your frontal lobe shuts down. You ever been at a happy hour? Okay? You get 1 hour to be happy, right? You would have thought we made it plural. So this is where people get nervous. They start looking in their purses and they're, dear God, did he see me last night, right? No. Not you guys, but your friends, right? So you're at happy hour, and you know you have 1, 2, 3, 4 drinks, whatever it is. You know, did you ever notice your best friend, Dr. Nussbaum, you know, dressed to help Mr. Ethics? Did I ever tell you I love you? I love you. Dr. Nussbaum, please quit touching my hair, right? What? The alcohol goes to the front part of the brain and shuts it off. And then whatever comes out, it's coming out. Okay? I see a lot of this behavior in nursing homes. They're not bad people. Their frontal lobe's gone. In all fairness, you're not a bad person if you have too much to drink, but you ain't going to act the way you usually do. Okay? The fact that you're not standing up right now, disrobing, yelling vulgarities, tells me you have a healthy frontal lobe. I'm standing in the middle of Times Square. You know what's going through my head? There are a lot of people here. We're one neuronal hiccup in the frontal lobe from having a catastrophe here. But it doesn't happen, thank goodness, right? Frontal lobe's that important, okay, that important for us. This stuff all works as a symphony. Your brain weighs 2 to 4 pounds. As Rita would tell you, it's made up of 60% fat. It's that fat that insulates the nerve tracts that makes the information go rapidly. You want to be a rapid information processing animal. You don't want to be slow. If you don't believe me, the next time you're on an elevator, try it out. Person walks in the elevator, door's shut, person looks at you and says, how you doing? You don't know. Here's what I want you to do. Just stare at them. Okay? They'll start twitching and scratching, right? Doing all kind of things and barking and because they're uncomfortable. Doors open up, they run away. You say, fine, I'm fine. But it took you 8 seconds. Try that, 8 seconds. Doesn't seem like a long time, try it. You don't want to process that way, okay? You want to be rapid information processing animals. Rita would tell you that you have to eat proper fats. Okay? Exercise insulates the brain with those proper fats. Every time your heart beats, and this is why this talk is so important, 25% of the blood goes to the brain. 25, man. Anybody want to talk about market share? 25%. Good number. 3 pounds, 25%. No matter what you weigh, subtract 3. That bigger number, not big number, bigger number, gets 75%. See what we're talking about here, okay? Everybody say subcortex. Pulled apart the Oreo cookie. Gray matter. Sometimes it's called gray. Why? It looks gray. That's your cortex. That's where you process information consciously. Underneath, we pulled apart the Oreo cookie. Looking in the middle, subcortex. Underneath the cortex. Older, more primitive. Motor-based, procedural kinds of structures that is subconscious in nature. You've already done a number of miraculous things today. You're not aware of it. Why? It's subconscious. So you're like me. We woke up today. You're not different than me. We woke up in our huts in Pittsburgh. What'd you do? Well, you all went and you had to get this chemical. Why? Because if you don't, you're going to be irritable. What's the chemical? Coffee. So you started coffee. Okay? Then maybe you turn the TV on. Then you're yelling at other people in the house. Would you please get ready? Right? And something happens along the way. What happens? You get dressed. How does he know that? You're dressed. Okay? Now, there aren't many guys in here, but, you know, we look good. We're doing all right. We got pants facing forward, 2 shoes, socks. Ladies, we're smoking, all right? Now, you ladies, you're going out of your mind, all right? I mean, just look at you. You got stuff hanging off your ears, right? Stuff wrapped around, you know, things up here. You know. You weren't standing in the middle of your hut saying, honey, I got my right pant leg on. I'm going for the left. How you doing over there? Okay? Then you got in a car like we all did, and you did about 10 different things to make this kind of 2-ton thing move, and you weren't even aware of it. Okay? And the reason you weren't aware of it, because you live in Pittsburgh, you know Pittsburgh. You have the mental map laid out for Pittsburgh. If you go with me to Boise or someplace you haven't been where I travel and talk, your brain's going to react differently because you place your brain into a novel and complex environment. Listen closely. That's why travel reduces the risk of dementia. That's why the United States Travel Association's all over me, okay? Now, you'll enjoy this because in Pittsburgh, as I tell people, outside of Pittsburgh, it's the only city where you cannot put words to directions, right? So you guys get it, but imagine me telling this to somebody in, Austin. So Pittsburgh's a city. Pittsburghers are very friendly people, but you'll look at them and say, how do I get to the south side? Pittsburgh will say, I don't know, I just know how to do it, okay? As a neuroscientist, what that means is our city's set up so you can't use the language side of your brain very easily. It's the one city like that, okay? It's very interesting. Now, you have a bridge called the Corpus Callosum, a little bit bigger in women than in men. This is where information crosses all one side to the other, sometimes called hemispheres, sides. Left side, for most of us, tends to be very verbal, very analytic, very detailed, very task-oriented. The right side helps us with space. Maybe emotion, maybe melody, okay? Language has melody. So when you're in front of a little baby, you don't come up to the baby and say, it's 11 o'clock, we got about 15 minutes late to go. Your bottle's being prepared, it's en route. For the love of God, please quit crying, right? That's not what you do. You will go up in front of the baby, and if you pay attention, your frontal lobe will just leave, okay? Who's gonna get a bottle? Do you want a bottle? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Does the baby understand what you're saying? No, but it's that melody, that prosody. Now, when I see folks with Alzheimer's disease, sometimes my words, the way I'm talking to you, don't get in. So sometimes I'll sing to them, or I'll use increased prosody, and that'll help unlock memories for them, okay? Let's take you back to your happy hour. And if you're single in here and maybe Mr. Right walks in, maybe Mrs. Right walks in, okay? Are you going to say to them, look at you? Aren't you a cutie? Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Because as we develop, from babies onward, we don't need as much prosody. But you need some. Okay, you need some. Now, it's important that you understood that women have a larger corpus callosum, a larger 4-pit bridge. Okay? And you also have more white matter. White matter you can think of as all the bridges in our city connecting up the different regions, which is really important because if you want to stimulate the different cortical conscious areas, You got to have those regions deep inside that get there. Okay? So you women have more than the guys with regard to that. All right? And here's something really important that I'll save all your relationships right here today. Okay? This is going to make life completely come clear to you right now. All right? Female brain on the right, male brain on the left. Okay? If you weren't from this planet, which is always a good exercise, we come down, we got to tell Dr. Wright, we visited the planet Earth, there's two animals down there they call female and a male. They seem to get together every day, and they struggle with what behavior? Communication. Now, you're just going to have to trust me. The really fascinating thing, when there's a lot of men in the room and I ask that question, it's usually the women within nanoseconds. Communication! Men are looking at each other saying, there's no problem. What's the problem? No problem. I don't understand, no problem. Okay? It's interesting. Female brain on the right, male brain on the left. This is your left side, right side, right side. Everything's inverse. Measuring glucose. That's what your brain turns up. Okay, so that's what's firing here. You don't have to be a neuroscientist. You say, well, gee whiz, that looks like both sides of the brain are firing with females. Men tend to be one side. Men tend to be very task-oriented animals. Okay, ladies? Listen. Task-oriented animals. Okay? Long time ago, we went out, killed the dinosaur, brought it back. Went out, killed a dinosaur, brought it back. Went out, killed a dinosaur, brought it back. Okay? That's what we do. Okay? This is why you don't need multi-million-dollar studies. Okay? What I want you ladies to do is ask your favorite male to define the word shopping. That's with an ing. That's an active verb where I learn. Okay? A man will tell you, most men, shopping means I'm going to go in the Ross Park Mall, I'm going to get what I'm there to get. If it takes more than 30 minutes, I'm going to go psychotic. Now, a female can do that every bit as well as a man. But again, if we just went to the Ross Park Mall with a video camera, you will see a female going into the mall. Turns out, she can hear music playing. There's music playing. She can smell the cinnamon rolls in the distance. She'll walk into the mall and touch things, smell things, rub things. Okay? That ain't going on over here. All right? Women are more social, more gregarious, more empathic, more compassionate, more intuitive, probably better leaders. You have a better brain. You outlive men. You manage stress better than men. When I do my work, I always go to females. Kim will tell you this and say, how am I doing? Why do I want to know from females? Because I need to know I'm connecting with you. And you can help me with that. It's easier for me to connect with a guy, okay? But in all seriousness, once the laughter stops, a couple comes in to see me. That's Lisa, that's Bob. Just make up some names. Why are you here? We don't communicate. What do you mean by that? He doesn't listen to me. Hey, ladies, if you had a dime every time you said that, right? He doesn't listen to me. When she says that, he comes out of his chair at me as if I said it. I'm not kidding you. Doc, I hear every word she said. I can repeat back word for word what she just said. All right, man, easy. This is what, fun job I have.
The federal health insurance marketplace is now open. That means you're free to shop for the health plan that's right for you. UPMC Health Plan has some of the most affordable plans on the marketplace. And they all give you full in-network access to UPMC, plus other doctors and hospitals in your community. Visit upmchealthplan.com or call 1-855-297-UPMC to learn why so many people have chosen UPMC Health Plan. Enroll today.
Give me an example. I lost my job. I have an interview tomorrow. I don't know. Got it? Pretty simple, right? I lost my job. Got an interview tomorrow. I don't know. You hear what I said and how I said it? This guy's a really lovable puppy. He's trying, man, okay? Give him credit, ladies. I mean, this guy's trying, all right? He says, without getting any sort of advice from me, just goes into it. Honey, you've always done well in the past. You're going to do great tomorrow. She's angry. Now she's angry. He looks at me. I look at him. I say, attaboy. It sounded good to me. Attaboy. Attaboy. He looks over at her, sees she's really angry. He looks back at me and said, I don't know. You got to go home with her. I don't, man. You're looking for a male to explain this. What went on there? When he said, honey, you've always done well in the past. You're going to do fine tomorrow. He completely minimized her anxiety, her vulnerability, her lack of confidence, her fear. Hey, ladies. He ain't going to get it. Okay? So in just saying, I don't know, he's a task-oriented animal. You've got to articulate, I'm scared to death. I feel vulnerable. Okay? You can't believe, or maybe you can, how many relationships get into trouble because of this. Okay? And so try to be more concrete. Talk to me, you're male, as if I'm a 2-year-old. Okay? And I don't mean to be demeaning, but understand how the brain works. Okay? And in all seriousness, we can save a lot of relationships with this. Everybody say hippocampus. The most important part of you. I don't care what they say here at the conference. The most important part of you is your hippocampus, and here's the thing. It may be the first time you ever said that word. That's staggering. This is the structure that lays down new information. This is the structure that builds your life story. You want to share that with your little ones one day? Because guess what with Alzheimer's disease? It is true. It's the presence of neuritic plaques and neurofibrillary tangles and genetic predispositions called apolipoprotein E. You with me? No, that's not the way humans talk. Alzheimer's disease is a brain that's lost access to its life story. Get you? Now are we together? Don't lose your life story. Because you're building it every day by stimulating your hippocampus. Okay? This is where you generate new brain cells too, by the way. You got a little trivia exam. Brain generate new brain cells? Yes. Where? In the hippocampus. Okay? Probably in other places, but we haven't discovered that yet. Pay attention here closely. Right next to the hippocampus is a neighbor. You all have a next door neighbor? You like your neighbors? All right. That's a different workshop. It's called the amygdala. Amygdala is a brilliant structure. A long time ago, the amygdala developed because we were being chased by animals that wanted to eat us. So the brain evolved and said, we need to develop something, a defense mechanism, so you don't get eaten. We're here today. We didn't get eaten. What happens when the amygdala fires, all kinds of things occur in the body and the brain. So norepinephrine, adrenaline, lungs get bigger, need more oxygen. Big biceps, big thigh muscles get bigger because you're going to run or you're going to fight. Heart's pounding. You lose saliva. You ever notice that when you get real scared? Can somebody please give me some water? I don't have any saliva, right? People look at you like you're out of your mind, right? The other thing that happens is your memory stops processing because you have stress. And if you don't shut that off, over time you probably place yourself more vulnerable to Alzheimer's disease. Okay? This is why kids in the classroom get a B and not an A. Because we set up the test to be a really, really kind of scary thing. That's what I tell teachers. Everybody put everything under your table. When I tell you to go, turn the page over, you get 30 minutes, not 31. You look at your neighbor, we're going to wipe out your ancestry, go. Kid walks out into the hallway 15 feet from his desk and remembers the answers. Couldn't get him in the seat. Just a little bit of anxiety. So I teach teachers, let's just do a little meditation, a little breathing prior to that math test. Little things, you know. Plasticity. This is the way brain health works. You have trillions of brain cells. Coming into the brain cell, you pull in information through the dendrites. These are branches of a tree. The information is taken out into the world down the axon, insulated by this green stuff, really not green, but I'm trying to teach you, called fat. When you expose your brain to a novel and complex environment, those are the two important words for my theory, novelty and complexity. Don't be rote and passive. You will develop new dendrites. And the more dendrites you develop, the more brain resilience you have, such that your brain begins to look like a jungle. If Alzheimer's tends to come knocking on the door, you're able to delay its onset. You're able to push it off. We don't have a cure, but we do have 30% of brains well diagnosed with Alzheimer's at autopsy who never manifested any memory problems. Lifestyle matters, okay? Building up brain resilience. That's why this gentleman drew that picture. So I'm going to conclude by showing you some things that you can do from this day forward. And this is my brain health lifestyle. From a socialization perspective, please remain integrated and involved. Have a reason for getting up each and every morning. Have a reason for getting up each and every morning. Why are you on the planet? Don't go to the HR office to figure that out. Why are you on the planet? What are you supposed to be doing? It's an important question, okay? Friendships and family networks. How many people in here have family members where you really need to forgive, but you're having a very hard time forgiving, or is it just me? I guess it's just me, okay? How many liars do we have in here, all right? Forgiveness is a very powerful medicine. Hope and love and compassion are powerful medicines. Listen to me. Your brain doesn't know the difference between love and Prozac. It doesn't. Okay? When I'm in front of doctors-to-be and nurses who can prescribe, why don't you prescribe love and forgiveness? It's not illegal. We don't talk enough this way. Okay? I don't believe in retirement. Always do something meaningful. You don't have to be paid for it. It doesn't have to be a job. But do not isolate. Do not segregate. Retirement, the way it's positioned in our life, in our country, is to push you out of the mainstream. You have to move and keep moving. Walking 6 miles a week, a mile a day briskly, the University of Pittsburgh taught us through research, reduces your risk of Alzheimer's disease. This is cause and effect in terms of its effect on the brain structurally. It goes right to the hippocampus and helps you remember. Cause and effect. It's not correlation anymore. These are the other kind of activities you can do. Think about kind of engaging in activities where you use the non-dominant side of your body, because that's controlled by the other side of your brain. Don't neglect the other side of your brain. Okay? Dance is very, very brain health promoting. All right? Dance. It's interesting. We're the one animal that music moves us. At the next wedding, at the next happy hour, wood floor, look at the humans, music comes on, humans migrate onto the dance floor. That's interesting to me, because if there are elephants in the room or zebras, they ain't going to move. Humans move. It's also very emotive. Okay? Mental stimulation. What's new and complex for you? Do it. Stay away from the rote and passive as much as you can. Sign language for babies who cannot speak orally. By the 2nd grade, they have a better articulatory system and they have a higher IQ. The reason a higher IQ is important in early life is it reduces the risk of Alzheimer's later in life. Do you understand how proactive works? It doesn't have to be invasive, highly technical, or expensive. In every baby Head Start wellness program, when I'm at the United Nations or in front of the National Press Club, from a policy perspective, sign language should be part of those programs. Travel we talked about. Learning languages. Rosetta Stone and I work together learning languages. The thing I have to get Rosetta to kind of understand is that's brain health promoting. That's disease minimizing when you learn new languages. There are correlations. The more languages you have, the lower the risk of Alzheimer's. The United States, we don't have a lot of language development here. Go to Germany. They have 4 languages. Look at the correlations in terms of dementia. It's interesting, okay? Slowing down. Slowing down. Giving yourself the ability to develop balance, okay? And peace. Relaxation procedures. When you take a deep breath in, if you were to hang on to it, your amygdala would fire. Because you would say something like in your head, is this idiot going to let me exhale? Okay? When you exhale, you set off a whole different set of responses in your brain and body. Rest and digest part of you, the parasympathetic nervous system. Meditation is very, very important. I'll be leading a meditation class tonight. If you don't know how to meditate, don't say that. You know how to meditate. You were born knowing how to meditate. You can meditate when you walk. You can meditate when you swim. You can meditate as you're lying down. Your brain has that capacity, okay? But you got to practice. Prayer on a daily basis enhances the immune system. There's a whole field called neurotheology if you're interested. Neurotheology, wonderful studies being done there. Finally, nutrition. 2 buckets of food we think that are pretty important right now for the human brain. The omega-3 fatty acids, your body doesn't produce them. You have to eat them. You get them in certain types of fish. We're told we're supposed to eat about 8 ounces of fish a week. Okay? Unsalted nuts, almonds and walnuts are good sources of omega-3s. Other types of omega fatty acids you can get in green leafy vegetables as they get metabolized into the omega-3s. Rita's a big fan of saying eat real food. She always tells us that at the center. Eat real food. Tends not to come in a bag. Okay? When you're at the buffet line and the muffin is kind of like this thing here, there's something wrong. Okay? Apples coming out of the grocery store, they're this, something's wrong. It's not real food. The other major food ingredient content is fruits and vegetables. About 6 fistful servings of fruits and vegetables a day. Making your plate look like a rainbow is really, really important. One little behavioral study, if you eat with utensils, you eat fewer calories, which is really important as you get older, and you eat healthier than when you use these. See, my mom's 90. She doesn't use these to eat too much. They used utensils growing up. My generation uses this a lot, usually in the minivan on the way to the 3rd soccer game, and nobody's studying, okay? Let me conclude this way. Lifestyle matters. The brain has plasticity. You have the wonderful opportunity to shape your brain for whatever you want. Age, again, does not matter. And sitting next to each and every one of you in here today is an invisible bag. You've had it with you your whole life. And into the invisible bag, you're placing life experiences. You're building up your wonderful autobiography. I call it your life story. It's the most precious gift you have. And you have access to it. And we take it for granted. Sitting next to each and every, if you go with me right now to your twilight, or mine, which may be today, right? The sun's setting. We're going on to a better place. There's going to be a little one that comes up to you and takes you by your hand and looks you square in the eye and says, share with me your life story. I want to know. In my experience, in basements of 5 and auditoriums of 18,000, you see what just happened? It got quiet. You're fixed. The emotional got together with the analytic. You're in the moment. It's personal. When things are personal, you'll think a little bit deeper about what we talked about today. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you so much for joining me this week for this episode of Hot for Your Health. You are a powerful force in your own health, and I'm excited that you took the time this Thursday to learn more from our nation's authorities in health. I hope that you subscribe so that you don't miss one single episode. Join us next week for Hot for Your Health, and for more information, find it at womenshealthconversations.com.